he and me, we were like rooting for like a 9, and they don't really care. Oh my god, and there's the 9! He flopped the full house! Oh, Jesus Christ. This is what you need to win a tournament. Hey everyone, this is Poker Grinders. In the last video, we covered some hands at the final 2 tables. In this video, I'm going to show the hands that I played at the final table. Are you guys ready? Let's jump right into it. The ZSOP was hosted in CTP, Taipei. It's the biggest tournament venue in Taiwan. I love that place, it's absolutely amazing. And the first prize for the main event was almost 200,000 USD. The prize pool was really big, and this was my biggest tournament winning ever. Let's see how deep I can run at the final table. So this is the chip count, and I am 7th in chips. In the last video, I lost a big all-in showdown against Ace King, so I lost a big chunk of my stack. But the blinds have been rolled back. The blinds are 75,150. So I have almost 22 big blinds, which is pretty playable. And let's jump right into a couple of hands. So I'm going to focus on the hands that I have played. I didn't get involved in the first couple hands, and they were fighting as hell. It was crazy. Just at the beginning of the tournament, everyone was like just going after each other. And I actually pretty liked it that I didn't get to play some of the earlier hands. Like, I was just happy folding my hand and watching them playing. So here comes the first hand. Yeah, one whole leaf from under the gun. He raises with ace queen off. He has 11 big blinds. I think with ace queen off, you just want to rip it in. Because if you min raise in this spot, you will face a lot of rejams that have life cards against you, and you don't want those hands to rejam. You just want to rip it in yourself. And yeah, unfortunately, I woke up with pocket kings, which is bad news for him. Look at me, you know? Oh my god. My first hand I play on the final table and it's pocket kings. It's crazy. And then it's like a setup, and he had ace queen. Oh my god. Yeah, I think for a while, I think if I can make a non-all-in 3-bet raise, because his stack was 11 big blinds, I can make it like 5 or 5.5 big blinds and let him shove. But since he min raised 2 big blinds with 11, I think he will pretty much call my shove with every hand. If he had like ace king or pocket queens, pocket jacks, pocket tens, he will always call my shove. And I wasn't sure if he is implementing a raise fold strategy at that stack depth. I didn't play a lot with him, but generally if they raise under the gun with that stack, I think they will call you off unless they have like ace 10 off or king jack off and hands like that. Yeah, but I rip it in and he snaps. It's really good news for me. We're 68% favorites and we only have to fade an ace. Yeah, this was a pretty big pot for me. Pots 23 big blinds, and if I win this pot, I stack up, and this showdown has so much ICM value. It's so important to my poker career and everything, and I really hope that I can dodge an ace. Will I dodge the ace? We'll see. Yeah, and then the floor, the tournament director, he's making some announcements. There were like a lot of people like standing behind and watching the final table. Yeah, the flop's pretty safe. Pretty safe. I can't like ask for a better flop. It's pretty safe turn. And here we bust a player, and we're down to 8 players, and we chip up massively. Yeah, we're back to 5 million. It's awesome. Oh my god, this pocket kings, that had so much value, like incredibly much value. And here I pick up king queen offsuit under the gun with 25 big blinds, and of course I min raise. And you know, if a tight player, like I have been portraying a pretty tight image at the final table, and you know, they're not gonna mess around with the under the gun open. And yeah, we have almost everyone folding, and it folds around to tarot gun with king 9 offsuit. And he does not defend. Oh, yeah. I think king 9 offsuit is pretty defendable. In chip EV situation, you have to defend it 100% of the time. In ICM spots, like this at a final table, You can reconsider, especially when there's like Qifeng with 4 big blinds and Yoon Suk-hyun with 7 big blinds. You can consider folding. So I think the EV loss of folding is less in an ICM spot compared to a chip EV spot. And here we have Yu Xiang Wang raising to 400k with pocket nines. Cheating Jie. This guy is, I think, a calling station, and he has been running really good throughout the entire tournament. Like, he just gets there every time, and sometimes he's like pulling off some really weird bluffs. This guy calls with queen jack off, which I don't like. Qifeng with ace 3 of diamonds. He is playing so ridiculously tight. He doesn't play any hand. And this is me with queen jack offsuit on the big blind, and of course I defend the min raise. So we have 2 queen jacks, and the flop's a jack, and there's the flop, there's the jack on the flop. I check, Yu Xiang checks, and of course there's the stab. Yeah. He stabs a lot, even if he has a pair or not. Like, he is, I think, too aggressive. And I was thinking, ooh, that's a 3 big blind stop, and we can be easily against ace jack and king jack, but I'm not going anywhere with my top pair. And I make the call, and pocket nines gets away. So here's when the situation gets pretty dicey. When it turns a 7, the 7 favors my range more than him, because I have more 8-6, 7-5, 7-4, jack 7, and those kind of 2 pairs and straights. I have more 6-3 suited than him. I mean, he doesn't have any 6-3 suited. And by this time, he is not supposed to have any 2 pair or straight, whereas I have all the 2 pair and straight. So I was considering leading, because I don't know like what he's up against. Like, he's just randomly stepping with, and the ace is not the card that I wanted to see, and I decided to check with my jack, and he reaches for chips and goes for a pretty chunky bet, and I don't like this bet at all. Like, what are you trying to get called by? Is it a value bet or a bluff? It's like nothing. It's not a value bet, it's not a bluff. I think maybe he's trying to turn this jack into a bluff to make me fold king jack and queen jack, supposedly. I do not think this is a good valid bet. It's neither a value or a bluff. Yeah. And I think for a while, and I think what he might be betting with it. Of course, he has a lot of ace jack and ace 5, ace 4 hands that will just stab in position. And I think he has more aces than me. And I think for a while. And now that I think about it, I might also consider calling. But yeah, this 850,000 bet, that's a pretty big chunk of my stack. So I decided to fold this hand. Oh my god, now that I look the recap, it's so stupid of me. I think it's callable. What do you guys think? Would you call in this situation? But yeah, he's been playing pretty aggressively, but I haven't sat on a feature table with him, so I didn't get to see his hands as often. And I didn't know he was playing like so loose and so randomly. Anyways. And Yoon Suk-hyun just rips pocket queens. And I also said earlier, if you have like 8 big blinds, you can just min open. And then other people shove with their pairs. And this guy, Cheating Jie, picks up pocket 9s, and he is going to call. Yeah, he makes the call. And Qifeng, the super tight guy, he picks up pocket 10s. Yeah, he thinks about it and he said like, oh no, I can't fold this hand, this is way too good. And he decides to go all in. Yeah, this is 3-way all in. This is like so much ICM value for us, like for those who have folded. This is crazy. And to be honest, we were all rooting for a 9 because then it's going to be a double elimination. And we're going to ladder up 2 pay jumps, which is crazy. You won't believe the outcome. It's crazy. Joe is 9 in Chinese and everyone was yelling Joe. So much sweat. You know, like he and me, we were like rooting for like a 9. And they don't really care. Oh my god, and there's the 9! He flopped the full house! Oh, Jesus Christ. This is what you need to win a tournament. You know? Have the lowest pair and just flopping a full house. Oh my god, look at him. He's like, yeah, let's go. Oh yeah. And here we have the double elimination. 2 people have busted in one hand. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh my god, this was I think almost like 10k. The pay jump. Insane. Oh my god. And now we're down to 6 people. We only play like 2 hands. And we're 6-handed. Yep. This is how you play a final table. You don't play. You fold. Keep folding and you just ladder up. Well, I mean, if you battle, it's good. You can win chips, but you need to find the right timing for it. And here I pick up King Queen offsuit again. Yeah, a lot of King Queens in the final table. And I min open for 400k. Folds around, but folds, which is good. Small blind folds. And big blind. The Thai streamer Tarragon with a6 offsuit, and he defends the big blind. And he is, I cover him, yeah, for about 1 million. And the flop is a very good flop for me to go for the continuation bet. And in this spot, you want to bet, I think, somewhere around half pot. Since we're under a lot of pressure, I think half pot will do the job. Like most of the pairs from pocket 5s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s, they are having a hard time to call. All of the ace-x hands will call, and even some of the hard backdoors, like 8-7 of hearts, king 8 of hearts, ace 3 of hearts, they're just gonna fold. Yeah, most of the hands will fold. Just 2 big blinds will get it done. So this is the spot that I wasn't so sure about, and I would really like to hear some of your opinions. And here is the hand. Yu Xiang Wang from Hijack raises with 7-4 of hearts. And now that I'm looking at this hand, I did not know that he was playing so loose. I've seen him like bullying Dylan with 4-3 of diamonds, but I didn't know that he was raising at the final table with such a loose range. I mean, I can understand because he's the chip leader and he likes to bully, and you know, like, he gets a lot of full equity. He gets to steal the pot a lot of chunk of the time, but I did not know that it was so loose. And he raises to 400 and folds around to me in the small blind with pocket 6s, and I had 22 big blinds, a little bit less than 22. I think it's 21.8. What would you do in this situation? Would you rip it in? Would you 3-bet? Or would you flat? Or would you fold? For me in this situation, I thought flat calling is the move to go. If it was button or cutoff, I would have considered shoving. But since he was raising from the hijack, I was leaning less towards shoving. But now that I think about it, who do you want to reshove against? It's mostly the chip leader, because the chip leader is the one who has the widest range. Would you shove in this situation? I think shoving makes some kind of sense, and flat calling also makes sense. And we're heads up from the small blind, which is a bad position. And here comes the flop, which is not very inviting for me, and I check. And he thinks for a while and makes the continuation bet. Yeah. So this is also a dicey spot. What would you do in this situation? Our hand is, I something most likely good. Like we're against a lot of ace x, king x, hands, gut shots, and straight draws. He might have some 10s like jack 10, 10, 9 suited and hands like that. But the problem in this spot is what on the turn. You know, if he has a bluffing hand, he will most likely continue on the turn. And if I call this bet on the flop, our remaining stake is 3.6 million, which is 80 big blinds. And calling to a flop bet and folding to a turn bet is also kinda not like the ideal thing we want to do. And I don't know, like, especially at this final table, I think this is a very nasty situation. But now that I do the recap, I think I can peel one street. At least I should have peeled one street. Because my flat calling range from the small blind is pretty strong, and it's also less likely that he will keep bluffing against me if he has a bluffing hand, because like I have so many Broadway hands like king queen, queen jack, king jack, jack 10 suited, ace 10 suited, and hands like that. So I think calling here would have been the better option, but I make the nitty bitty folds. Yeah, I fold. So what do you guys think in this situation? What do you guys think about this? This fold is too nitty, or would you do the same? So he gets to throw with 7-4 suited. This is making me so upset. Like I got bluffed at the final table over and over again. I just keep folding over and over again. I folded almost everything. We're playing again with him, Yu Xiang Wong. This time with 10-8 suited. And we pick up a very defendable hand, King 9 of clubs. And we decide to defend the blind. What do you think? Would you ever consider 3-bet bluffing in this situation? That's what I have thought. But since there are shorter stacks on this table, I decided just to defend. And taking the passive route. Taking the passive route over and over again. And yeah, we completely whiff. And in a chip EV situation, in a multi-table situation, I can consider check raising this hand a big chunk of the time. But since we're only 15 big blinds deep, it is really hard for me to bluff in this situation. And this is such a gross situation. He just gets away with the bluff every time and I keep folding. And I think people will tag me as a net on this table. Yeah, I just keep folding every time. Just keep folding every hand, which is gross. Yeah, but I think it's fine. There's not much you can do, you know. So here in the next hand, here we see some action. Tarragon with pocket 5s, and he has 8 big blinds from the cutoff, and he decides to go all in and see. Yeah, and then me and right next to him with ace king, and I ask for a count, and I'm like, wow, this is the hand to go, you know? Yep, I'm all in too. Oh my god, this is such a big pot, you know. Yeah, we're flipping. We're flipping. Yeah, we're not ahead with ace king. He has a pair, and if he wins, then we're pretty much out of the tournament, you know. Oh my god, like I was praying. It's like the church in the ace king. You're just praying for it. And the run out is just insane. And the tournament director is announcing the all-in showdown. Tarragon from Thailand against me. Oh my god, and there's the 5 on the flop. It's devastating, and my overcards like aren't clean anymore. And a 3, only a 3 will save me. And there's the 3. Oh my god, this is crazy. This is crazy, this tournament. And again, like this dealer. Oh my god, yeah. She saved my life. It is crazy. And now we have to fade the poor pairing. Yep. And we ladder up again. You know, we bust the 6th place. And we're down to 5. And I managed to chip up again. So much ICM value. I'm still the shortest stack though. You know how much? I had one big blind at day one hand for hand. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna min cash and I'm just gonna play another event. But somehow I made it to the final table, which is unbelievable. I have never, ever even thought about going to the final table at the main event. I had 8 big blinds at day 2. 8 big blinds. Like 50 average. And here with ace 10 offsuit, blinds are 150, 300. I decide to rip it in with slightly less than 15 big blinds. And I think the shove is pretty standard because, yep, hands like that, king jack offsuit will fold. If I min raise, king jack offsuit might even rip it in. Or some of the low pairs like pocket deuce, pocket threes, pocket fours will rip it in. And even if I call, we're flipping. And denying the equity of those hands is pretty important. In this situation, very, very important, you know? And picking up 2.5 big blinds, which is 750,000 chips. And you're the shortest stack, so you don't have much ICM pressure. Here I pick up king queen offsuit under the gun and make it 600. A lot of king queen offsuits, especially under the gun, right? And Dylan folds pocket fives. It's not bad. And cheating Chie defends the big blind with ace 3 offsuit. And I think he will hit the ace right away. Does he? Oh, he hits the 3. Yeah. He gets there every time, and this is such a bad board for me to continuation bet. And I decide to check back. And of course, he probes. He is so aggressive. He will bet everything. Yeah. He doesn't like to check. He hates to check. And yeah, I think I can let it go, which is sad. You know, he might bink the river, but I think it's okay to let it go. Yeah, he raises with queen 8 offsuit. With small blind, 275, and I pick up queen 4 offsuit from the big blind, and I decide to fold. And here I have jack 9. I was thinking about shoving, but 13 big blinds, I think I can still limp this hand. Yeah, limping is also fine, I think, but if he shoves, sadly we have to fold. Yeah, and limp, and he had king 5 off. Ooh. And he goes all in. Yep. And I fold my hand. Will he call king 5 off if I jam? No, he doesn't. Would you shove king 5 offsuit when small blind limps to 13 bigs? I think you can, yeah. So Liang Shangye with pocket 5s makes the min open to 600k, and me in the big blind with ace 3 of diamonds. I think you can rip this in, because if you rip this in, some pairs like 4s and 5s will start folding, and a lot of live cards like king queen, king jack, jack 10 will fold, ace 4, ace 5, ace 6, ace 7, ace 8, ace 9, ace 10 will fold a substantial amount. And even if he calls, we have like 35% equity, and you're the shortest stack. This steal, yeah, it's like almost 1 million in chips. If it's like an under the gun raise, like 8-handed, 9-handed, I would not rip it in, but since this is 5-handed, yeah, this is a hijack, not under the gun. So looking at the next hand, Liang Changye, the chip leader, raises to 800k with ace 9 off, and I defend the big blind with jack 10 offsuit. And if I hit a pair, a draw, I'm getting it in most of the time. And here we go. We hit top pair. And let's see if Liang Xiangye makes the continuation bet. He has the ace of clubs, which is not bad. But I have a jack. And I have 8 big blinds. What am I gonna do? Going all in, of course, yeah. Not a question. You can also check raise small, but like I only have 8 big blinds. You don't want to see any other card. You don't want to see an ace, a king, a queen, or any other club. Yep. And we scoop the pot, which is a lot. The min open was 800, and the c bet was 500. The small blind, the ante, you know, it's almost like a half double up, I think. Yeah, we're back to 14. And here we have ace king offsuit with 14 big blinds. With 14, I think you can rip it in. Because if you rip it in, a lot of ace queen, ace jack will call. Pairs will call. And ooh, yeah. This is like the perfect situation. He has ace queen suited. Perfectly dominated. It's like the dream spot, right? Ace king versus ace queen. Damn. Oh my god. Hopefully we can double up. Oh my god, and Dylan wakes up with ace jack. This is crazy. If I had min open, Liang Xiangmei will 3-bet and Dylan might just rip it in. Probably, yeah, and then we would have seen maybe even a 3-way all in. Damn. Yeah, Dylan gets out of the way. And here we see another all-in showdown, the very next hand. Oh my god, I was just praying. Look at me. Look at me praying again with ace king. Oh my god. But like, yeah, we're a big favorite. Yeah. No sweat, huh? No sweat this time. Please. Look at me praying. Praying me. Yep. No diamonds. No queens. And I told them to shut up. Because everyone was yelling for a queen. And I told them to shut up. Yeah, and here you go, the double up. The full double up. I asked them to shut up, man. No queen, man, dude. If the queen comes out, I'm gonna tear down the table. And here we have 12 million in chips. Just crazy. And Liang Xiangye picks up again a monster hand, ace queen, and rips it in. And Dylan with pocket threes. He might consider getting it in as well. Although, not too happy about it. Yep, just gets it in. And this is the hand of the day, everyone. And Team Taiwan is shooting for an ace or a queen.
กอดกันเลย2คนนี้ครับผมแจ็ค97ดูโทนฮะโอ้แต่บอลมีลุ้นอยู่เอควินครับผมเทิร์นครับเอาเรียบร้อย
The ace on the turn. Oh my god. Crazy double up, man.
จากที่ไต้หวันนะฮะตรงนี้ก็จะมีคนไต้หวันเยอะครับ
Crazy.
ริเวอร์ฮะ
อยากแล้วโอ้ยอะไรเนี่ยโอ้โห
Is what you
กอด
think.
กันยับเลย
โอ้คนลุกเลยฮะโอ้โห
Oh my
หรือจะ
god.
เชื่อ
โอ้โหดราม่าเยอะจริง
อะไรกันครับเนี่ยโอ้โห
Oh, and I just pay jump for
ไปนอนจะมาแล้วกอด
me.
ดิวเดอร์ทำไมครับนี่
เกิดไม่รู้กี่รอบแล้วเนี่ยพี่โจ
Jesus
เกิดขึ้นแล้วครับ
Christ.
สำหรับ2เอาใน
That 3 on the river, that was like, the ICM value was 20,000. And now we're down to 4 players. And we're third in chips. And here's the next hand that I played with aggro. Ching Tin Chie, he limps in with pocket fours. He likes to raise a lot from the small blind, but this time he opts to limp. So I thought I put him more on the weaker side of his range. If he had like big cards, he will most likely raise. Yeah, and I had queen deuce off. And I decide to check this hand. Pretty standard. And he flops a set. On flops like this, ace 9-4, I think the small blind leads too often. people step way too often on these kind of board textures because small blind has more ace-x in his limping range than the big blind in his check back range. So he will step with some random 5-3, 5 deuce, deuce 3, or even like jack 8, jack 7, queen 7, queen 8, king deuce, king 6 random hands. And that's what I have thought. So I thought that he will bet this flop a pretty decent amount of time. And I thought this is a good time to make a bluff raise. Yeah, because I think people lead too often on this board. And I opt to make a 2.5x raise. And I am, hitting against the wall. And he just had a set. The one time I decided to pull off a bluff, he had a set. You know? This is like what you need to win the tournament, you know? It's like you need to have the perfect timing of everything. Your bluffs should get through. And when you have it, people have to bluff at you. And the king of clubs, also a good hand for me to barrel, because I've been portraying a very tight image. And I have a lot of ace-x, king-x hands in my check-back range. And then I decided to go for a second barrel. Not too big, because like an ace will not fold, a 9 is kind of unlikely to fold, but definitely a 4 will start folding. A hand like 6-4, 7-4, 8-4 will fold. So I just go for a 3.5 big blind barrel, And I don't think you don't need to go that big in this situation, because if you are against like 2 pair or an ace or a set like in this situation, you risk the minimum. And he thinks, oh my god, the one time he has a set, the tightest player on the table is bluffing him. And the river is 7 of clubs. And surprisingly, he just donks 4 million. So this is why bluffing and value betting is so profitable in live tournaments. They just won't let you bluff. They just won't give you the chance to bluff. They'll just bet himself. 4 million. Yep. And I fold. And me again with 7-5 of spades. I limp in from the small blind. And Dylan with 10-6 of spades checks. And we're gonna see a flop. And I completely whiff. And I decide not to lead on this board. And big blind also checks back his second pair. The king, neither help of any of the players. And I have like no draw, no nothing. And I am not really interested in putting any money into the pot. I check. And Dylan also checks his showdown value hand. An ace. Both players can have some amount of ace, but I think for me it's too late to bluff. So so he has a 6. And he wins the pot. And me again from the small blind with 7-5 of hearts. Again with Dylan. Dylan, he is more on the passive side when it comes to blind versus blind, especially when he plays with me and when he played with a player on his left. I rarely saw him ISOing or raising, or he was mostly value betting, and he liked to play a little tricky trappy blind versus blind, especially when someone puts a lot of aggression on him. So I thought that I will not get ISO'd very often from him, and I can limp this hand and see a flop. And as you can see, he'll check his hand. And this time, we pick up a gut shot. And I think this is a good chance for me to call a small bet with my gut shot, because if I bet and most of the random over cards like Jack 5, Jack 6, Queen 7, King deuce hands will fold. Although in GTO world you're supposed to call most of the hands against a 1 big blind small blind lead. Say if I'm betting 500, in this case I bet 600, you're supposed to call with any backdoors, any overcards, because you have to defend 75% of your range. If you don't have a backdoor like this particular hand, I think folding is okay, but if you had Jack 5 of diamonds, clubs or hearts, you have to call. But in reality, a lot of people will overfold in the spots. That's why leading 1 big blind from the small blind is very profitable. And we scoop a nice pot. Yeah, this is my last hand. Let's look at my last hand. So this guy rips it in with ace-9 offsuit from the small blind. And I had 10 big blinds with ace-deuce of diamonds. What do you think about this call? Seeing that he is being pretty aggressive and I have a suited ace, I think calling here is fine. I was the shortest stack on the table, so yeah, I decided to go for it and saw the bad news. I was dominated. He has such a strong hand. Bad news for me, my tournament life is at stake. I think I've played a little too passively. Yeah, and Chi Tianjie, he hits the 9 and I pick up the flush draw, and I was yelling for the diamond. Please, it was such an important spot. Yeah. But I don't know, somehow if I'm the underdog, it somehow just doesn't work. It's okay. Yeah. And this is the last hand. This is the last hand of this tournament. And we finish 4th, which is actually a very good result. You know, I was super short. I've never thought I would have ran so deep in this tournament. This is my biggest tournament winning of all time. Yeah, the amount is ridiculously high. And now, yeah, I've built a bankroll for the APT Taipei in April. And maybe I can see you there. I hope you enjoyed the final table review. It was such a good experience for me. If you liked my video and the hand reviews and everything, you can subscribe to my channel. And I will provide you with more hand reviews and strategy analysis and GTO solutions and much more. I'll see you around.